All right, let's dive straight into this explainer and tackle a massive problem so many of us face, that completely paralyzing overthinking trap that keeps you from finally launching your business. Today, we're unpacking Noah Kagan's incredibly actionable playbook, $1 Million Weekend. Now, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the mere thought of starting a company, thinking it takes massive funding or just months and months of planning, well, this explainer is going to completely flip that perspective. We're going to look at the exact step-by-step process to launch and actually scale a business over a single weekend.
We'll kick things off by directly taking a sledgehammer to the fear and perfectionism holding you back. Leaning into a very blunt but brilliant piece of advice from the playbook, just effing start. It perfectly sets the urgent, no-nonsense tone for this entire framework. The core message here is that leaping is literally all that matters. The most courageous creators, they just leap more, in spite of their fear, and successful creation eventually follows. You do not need perfect conditions to begin. You just need to start.
So, here is your weekend playbook. We're going to cover 5 quick phases: the courage to start, finding $1 Million ideas, the 48-hour validation rule, building your loyal audience, and finally, scaling and lifestyle design. This is a chronological roadmap, proving that the giant mountain of building a business can actually be conquered in just 5 bite-sized chunks. Phase 1. The courage to start. Transitioning right into this first step, we absolutely have to crush the biggest excuse out there: the belief that you just aren't ready yet. The entire foundation of this weekend relies on adopting what's called the now, not how mindset. And it's fascinating, really, because it forces us to take that paralyzing need for perfect planning and reframe it into a demand for immediate action. When people think about starting a business, they usually obsess over the how, like, how will I incorporate? How am I going to build a website? How do taxes work? But successful creation comes from leaping right now and figuring out the how along the way. You literally just start small experiments and repeat them to build momentum. What's really cool is how this completely flips the fear of failure on its head. To succeed, the playbook says you have to hit the gym and develop your ask muscle. It suggests actively setting goals just to get rejected. There's this hilarious but super effective exercise called the coffee challenge, where you literally ask for a 10% discount on your morning coffee just to hear a barista say no to your face. You're intentionally desensitizing yourself to rejection, because honestly, the upside of asking is unlimited, while the downside is basically nothing. Moving right along to phase 2, finding $1 Million ideas. Let's bust a massive myth right now. You do not need some magical lightning bolt stroke of genius to make $1 million. You really don't. Have you ever poured your heart into building something and literally nobody wanted it? Ouch, right? Well, the customer-first approach prevents exactly that. The harsh but crucial truth is that your future customers genuinely do not care about your ideas at all. They only care if you can solve their pain points. So instead of locking yourself in a room to dream up a product and then begging people to buy it, start by finding a problem. Look for pain points in your own life, your friends' lives, or just go down a rabbit hole of search engine queries to see what people are actively complaining about. Now, to rapidly narrow down those everyday problems into a short list of killer business concepts, you just need to answer 3 simple questions. We call these the 3 W's of your market. Who are you selling to? What specific problem are you solving for them? And where do these customers already hang out? Answering these ensures there's an actual, hungry market before you ever spend a dime on development. Jot these down, make a huge list, and then just cherry-pick the top 3 that get you the most excited. Okay, phase 3, the 48-hour validation rule. We are now entering the absolute most critical phase of the weekend, completely destroying the excuse that you need a ton of capital or months of product dev to get going. Let's look at the 1-minute business model. We're going to take that huge, intimidating $1 million promise and anchor it into undeniably simple math that anyone can do in 60 seconds. You just take your proposed revenue per unit, subtract your cost per unit, and boom, there's your profit. Then calculate how many sales you need to hit $1 million. Listen, if the math says you need to sell 1 million units of a $1 widget, well, instantly you need a pivot. You can just adjust your price, your target audience, or the purchase frequency right there on the spot. And that brilliantly illustrates our next core principle. Stop stressing over the million. Seriously, put 100% of your focus into securing just your very first dollar. Going from $0 to $1 is by far the hardest, most important step you will take. Because the second someone actually hands you a single dollar, your business isn't just a theory in your head anymore. It is real. So how do we get that first book? The golden rule of validation here is getting 3 customers to actually hand over cash in 48 hours. Not just, oh, that's a cool idea, but actual money. The playbook gives us 3 rapid ways to do this. First up, direct pre-selling. Just create a Dream 10 list of folks in your personal network and pitch them. Second, utilize marketplaces like eBay or Craigslist. Put your solution right where people are already actively shopping. Or third, throw up a simple landing page to capture early pre-orders. You are proving the demand before the product even exists. Phase 4, building your loyal audience. All right, so you've got a validated idea, you've got real money in the bank. Let's look at how to build a community that passionately roots for you. When you're building an audience, you really need to understand the difference between social media and email marketing. Social media is awesome for reach, sure, but let's be honest, you are completely at the mercy of a totally unpredictable algorithm. Email marketing, on the other hand, that gives you owned distribution. It is the ultimate high-conversion tool for your business because it's a direct, personal line to your customer. Offer a valuable lead magnet, build that list, and then nurture them with incredible, generous content. And remember, be a friendly guide sharing your journey, not some all-knowing guru lecturing from a mountaintop. To actually build that audience, we have to talk about the law of 100. This is a tough one, but it demands that you commit to creating 100 pieces of content, maybe that's 100 emails, videos, tweets, whatever, before you are even allowed to judge your results. It's all about pushing through that messy early phase when literally nobody is paying attention, and building the sheer, relentless consistency it takes to win. Which brings us to our final phase, Phase 5, scaling and lifestyle design. Because honestly, what is the point of all this if it just completely swallows your life? True entrepreneurship is about building work around your life, not the other way around. Once your idea is validated and starting to grow, you scale it using a 30-day experiment-based marketing loop. It's super straightforward. On day 1, set a very specific, measurable growth goal. By day 15, you're just running different marketing experiments from a prioritized list. Then, on day 30, you look at the cold, hard data, completely drop your ego, and double down on the winners while ruthlessly killing what didn't work. Keep in mind, most experiments are supposed to fail. You're just panning for gold, hunting for those few strategies that actually hit. But listen, none of this scaling stuff matters if the business wrecks your quality of life. The playbook heavily emphasizes designing your life deliberately. Sit down and write a detailed dream year checklist with your health, family, and travel goals. Then, literally get in your calendar and color code it to make sure those life priorities are getting scheduled right alongside your work meetings. Oh, and definitely set up a weekly check-in with an accountability partner. That is absolutely key to keeping burnout completely at bay. Well, we have covered the mindset, the validation math, and the scaling tactics. Everything you need to get moving is right here in this explainer. So let's land this plane with a massive challenge directly from the playbook. What is your dream year, and what will you start this weekend to get there? The excuses are officially gone. You don't need a bunch of funding, and you definitely don't need a perfect plan. You just need to embrace the courage to ask, focus on solving one real problem for people, and go get that very first dollar. Have an amazing weekend, and seriously, just start.